Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do get started, let me just say one thing. This is a story I know will probably get a lot of attention, because I've seen a lot of people do a take on Danny Phantom. And I used to watch this story a lot for Saturday morning cartoons. I know I've said that with a lot of the other stories, like the Max Steel one, and then there was the Janitor Rex one, and then the Ben 10 story, but I'm gonna be honest, I loved all those cartoons. They were cool, they were nice, they were fun, and I love doing stories based on those universes. Now, with that being said, let me get started. What if Deku was Danny Phantom? We'll start with Izuku Midoriya. Izuku's family situation, it's a little complicated. His mother and father, Hisashi and Inko, after they were married and he was born, they had a lot on their plate for work. Deku's father, he was a researcher and helping develop technology. And whenever heroes started to become more prevalent, things got a bit more complicated. With the rise of almighty heroism and people turning away from villainy, people started to look more into developing their quirks. Hisashi's family, they did a lot with that. And there was even his cousin. Now, that meant quite a bit. Whenever they came to Japan and tried showing Hisashi research data about what they were doing, it was complicated. However, he saw the interest of this. He saw how it could be possible. The Ghost Zone. Something that could be a portal to another dimension. I mean, it sounds crazy. But after a small test, they were able to put a bit more of it into practice. And while that test may have had adverse effects, they were eventually able to, with more information and more data, properly create a portal. However, that took years to develop. And they believe they failed. And there was Deku. Deku, he was at home. There was a lot happening. And, well, whenever he saw that the portal might have failed, he was curious about it. His family worked with a big company. They developed hero technology, and now they're trying to develop interdimensional technology. I mean, plasma weaponry, armor, stuff like that. More technical, logical sides of being a hero. Even potentially creating a supersuit that would allow a quirkless person to fight villains. And it's a quite interesting thing. And he's quite happy because one day he might be able to wear one of those suits and become a pro hero. And Deku, he was looking at the portal. Currently, him walking over and checking it out. And it seems a little... Okay. Just listen to what his dad said before. This stuff is complicated and very technical. Deku looking over at some of the blueprints, seeing how this portal is built. Okay, everything looks fine. Deku flipping the page. Okay, so they created the gateway, they did everything. There's panels on the inside. Okay. Is something not wired properly? That would be ridiculous. Then again, this is his uncle and his research. You know what? He'll just take a look real quick. It doesn't matter. They're having lunch upstairs and they're taking a break. I mean, a peek in the portal won't hurt. Especially since ghosts aren't real anyway. But this idea, if it does work, it could prove the existence of life after death. And that's a very big thing. If they can prove that, it can become something crazy. And Deku, he does go to step into the ghost portal. Right now, him going to make his way past the door and looking around. It's almost like a small room, a small tunnel. Okay, so it's a bit dark, but bringing his hand up on the wall and beginning to run his hand down it. The panels look to be intact. Right, but his hand hitting something. And Izuku, he does get to feel it. Before he does, go to run his finger along something. And he has a turn. His eyes begin to adjust as he does see the buttons labeling for power. And currently the portal is off. Of course his uncle would mess up this way. This button should be on the outside. So he'll just turn the portal on and then plug it in. Deku pressing the button. And that was the day his life changed forever. And we do currently have Deku about a month later. He still does sit there, trying to think about a lot. After the portal worked, it was crazy. It was just hard to explain. He doesn't know the best way to put it. Right now, him looking at his hand and thinking about it. He's been able to get a bit of a grasp on these abilities. He can mistake them for a quirk. And that's a really good explanation for why all of a sudden you fell through the locker room. Though it does pose more problems. Currently, him sitting there on a bench at lunch, trying to think of a few things, burying his hand up, and still wondering about a lot. Okay. Flipping to a page in his notebook. He's got the phasing down. He's able to somewhat fly. And Deku opening his mouth as a cold breath does get to shoot through it. Deku staring at this thing. And he can do that. It's almost like he's waking up too early in the winter. But that's still not good. He just can breathe cold air. But his body's at normal temperature. Deku bring the pen up to his mouth, trying to think about a lot. And right now, he's got a lot of things going through his mind. Before somebody does get to sit down next to him and talk about it. Another person walking over about if he's alright. Yeah, I'm fine, Jiro. Ida. Hey. Him holding up a soda, telling him if he's alright, or if he's still trying to figure out that problem of his. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's just a little more complicated. You know how it is. A little bit more complicated? Dude, Ida going to sit down and lean over, whispering he's a freaking ghost. I mean, he's got powers now. He's not quirkless. I know. Thanks for the reminder. I'm just saying, man. Izuku, I'm sorry, okay? I'm just saying. You still gotta figure out how to handle that. I mean, you know the thing you do? Yeah, I know. It just, Deku blowing out that blue breath again, before he does get to talk about it. And that keeps happening. And that's the second time today. Really? Yeah, I know. It's odd. Plus, I don't know how to explain to my uncle about the ghost coming through. I mean, the portal works. Have you been through the other side? No. I mean, technically, I guess. I mean, I'm able to use those powers. I've been trying to look into it a bit more, but apparently genetic splicing's a thing. I think when the gateway opened, it punctured a hole this way. Yeah, from another universe. You've talked about this before. Right, thank you. I'm still a bit lost on it, guys. It's hard to explain, Jiro. Suffice it to say that whenever the two matters collided, Izuku was caught in the bridge. So he was exposed to both. He's normal here, and because the link was formed and he was there with the link formed, so he's half human, half ghost. It's possible. They would explain the splicing thing you're talking about. I don't know what it is. Deku breathing out the breath again. Before he does hear a crowd of people begin to scream out. And this does cause him to jump up. Right now him seeing a pro hero. As they are running around and using their powers. And this, it does catch his attention. As right now Deku does spot Kamari Woods. The man going to fly through the air and fly. That's not right. Deku's staring at the guy, and his eyes, they do glow, an unnatural color under that mask. And this, it does get to worry him. Him jumping up and talking about it. Okay. That might be something he has to handle. He's got to go. Beginning to run and going to try and use his powers. As he does a transform and going to try and leap up into the air. Deku flying forwards and smashing down onto his face. As he does a jump back up and turn. Before he does try to focus. Beginning to sprint towards the gate and phasing through it. For bringing his hands up and going to see that. It worked. Clenching his hands in a fist and getting ready. Before he's able to leap up in the air and properly fly. Him heading up and flying after Kamari Woods. And the pro hero does get a turn. Seeing that someone, they are after them. And they do to stop. Them going to turn and blast out the planks towards Deku. The branches flying towards him as he does go to close his eyes, thinking about trying to turn intangible. And he does a flying towards him, he does a smash into the pro hero. Right now the two colliding as Deku, he does go to force a ghost out of Kamari Woods. And the guy, he does begin to fall. Deku going to currently open his eyes and see that he's holding somebody in the air. And the person looks just as surprised as him. Deku turning his head, looking at Kamari Woods as the person they do to push off of Deku. Flying away as he does, going to fly after Kamari. Him catching the man and lowering him to the ground. The guy turning and asking about what just happened. Deku landing on the ground for turning and asking the pro hero exactly if he's alright, if he remembers anything. The man is jumping up before looking around and asking what the hell just happened. And Deku does a stand, flying up into the air and talking about how something possessed him. He was flying through the air and then he slammed into him and that thing came out. The thing? I don't understand. The last thing I remember was I was having lunch with my girl and everything went fuzzy. Really? That's not good. Listen, I'll handle this. Just go back to lunch. Deku turning, flying away as he does try to quickly go after this ghost. This green blob? He's not too sure what it is, but it took over a pro hero. And that is not good right now. Izuku flying after it as he does go flying through a building. Him phasing through it and trying to keep up. On the ghost, it does go to nosedive. It flying down towards the street as it does go through the floor. Him going to fly down and go to follow it. Before he does sort of chase it through the sewer and eventually come back up to the surface. Him on the other side of town and trying to find this spirit. And the creature, it does go to finally stop. Him going to corner in an alleyway as the thing does a turn, deciding to finally face him. And it does a charging at Deku. Him burning up his hands, trying to tell it to stop. And the thing does go flying towards him. Him jumping backwards as he does go flying through the air. Him landing as he does throw his hands up and trying to steady himself out. Then he does throw his hands out forwards. He does a blast out a beam of energy hitting into the creature, it exploding and sending ectoplasm flying all around the alleyway. And Deku, he does look down at his hands before looking at how there's smoke. He just fired a laser. He could fire lasers. This alarming him. It surprises him and makes him excited. And there is where someone does get a turn, looking into the alleyway and watching Deku, who does go to fly up into the air as they do come running up, trying to ask about exactly what's going on here. And Deku does a turn, seeing his uncle. Crap. Bye. Deku turning, flying away as he does go invisible. Right now the man going to turn, looking in the alleyway, running over to the strange glowing goo and going to take a sample. Since his radar, it was pointing him this way. This was incredible. Him going to look at the ectoplasm that's all over the alleyway. And Deku, he does go to meet up with his friends. Him telling them about the situation as they are a bit more intrigued. Though he was late for school, and his lunch break went way too long. Now, there is with the three, they are walking home. And Izuku, he's talking about it. He's telling them he fired lasers from his hands. Seriously? I think that's pretty cool. Right? So, if you fired lasers, what does that mean? You can disappear, fly, walk through walls, and shoot lasers? I mean, I punched a ghost out of a pro hero. So, wait, you could possess people then? I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. It could be pretty cool. Say, if you could possess people, what would you do first? I don't know. Never really thought about that question. Though, I did always thought about what if I had a quirk like that. I mean, it could have been pretty cool, but I don't know. I mean, we're talking about Ghost here. Right. You know, beings that don't exist. Dude, we know ghosts exist. Maybe you do. I'm just saying. Those things could be part of a villain group. I mean, yeah, you showed me the portal, but have you ever really gone through it? I don't really want to. Trust me, I've had a bad enough experience with that thing as it is. Alright, fine. How about when we get back to your house, we go through, see what it's like? Alright, maybe, but how about for just about a minute? Ooh, journey to another dimension? Count me in. This sounds pretty fun, though I'm not too sure if Ida's going to be able to handle it. What? Don't think I can? It's interesting. Yes, it is interesting. Though, what you said earlier, Kamari Woods was on a date with someone? Did he say who? No, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's Mount Lady. Ooh, interesting. Maybe next time you see him, you can ask. There could be some, facts to the rumor. For someone who doesn't like gossip, you sure do like celebrity gossip. It's pro heroes. Besides, I only don't like gossip when I'm the center of it. That's fair, I guess. I know my older brother, he's not really too happy about being targeted by the press sometimes. Your brother's a pro. What was he going to expect? I know, it sucks. Them arriving. And Deku, whenever he does go to see his uncle's very interesting van come pulling up, he does see it. the large truck with treads on it going to pull to a stop. Him jumping out and quickly grabbing a briefcase, talking about how he can't talk, he's got some interesting research to head to. And Deku does watch him run into the house and go to head upstairs. And Izuku does go to look at the tall building, since it's 4 stories tall, and the top of it, yeah, it has been turned into a lab. It's definitely large. Alright, I'm just saying, if we're gonna go to the ghost zone, then we gotta take some security precautions. You'll be with us, right? Besides, we're just gonna walk through. I know, but I don't know what's on the other side. And to be honest, I'm not too sure if I want to find out. Dude, you have powers. Are you saying you're the least bit curious as to where they come from? I mean, think about it. If you have the powers of a ghost, then it would be good to know what type of stuff ghosts could do, right? I mean, yeah, you're right about that. Them heading downstairs, and when they do see the portal, Deku does get a turn, walking over to a desk and pulling open a drawer, before he has a pulled up massive button and talk about it. Okay, they're gonna go in for about a minute. Pressing the button as the portal, it does begin to the lights start flashing and beginning to open. And Ida and Jiro do to see the portal to the ghost zone. As the 3, they do talk about it. It's only going to be for a minute. Deku going ghost, talking about how when they do come back, then they can hang out. Fair? It sounds fair. Though, Ida, yeah, you're buying lunch. Yeah, that's fair. I can do that. Though, milkshakes? Definitely milkshakes. I gotta say though, this should be fun. Jiro doesn't smile, and over Deku does wrap his arms around both of his friends, he does pull them up. Right now, him flying up into the air as the 2, they do so let a turn looking at Deku, telling him that maybe he should add super strength to that list. And he does a turn, realizing that he's holding both of them with one arm each. And that he didn't even realize. Huh. That's interesting. Them going to fly through and going into the ghost zone. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.